Hello, I'm Emilia Amaro. I'm 41, Hungarian who lives in Südtirol, artist, and I used to have a B&B. Today it was not so easy to find what I would like to talk because I put out my glass, sorry. What I would like to talk, because I had an idea and I worked on a sketch about pride, but today I had some bad news and I changed my mood and I tried to be not depressive. So I was talking how I can motivate myself and find a way out, how I should be not depressive, and then I just realized what was my experience with my theater when I was applying for transition. To find one it was not easy because I live really North Italy. In this region we have two different official languages, Italian and German, but most of the people only speak German or Italian because after this ex-Austrian part became the part of Italy, Mussolini bring up many Italians, but of course they live together mostly in Bolzano and they didn't want to study German. It was prohibited to study in German, so most of the Germans studied Italian, but to protect themselves, of course, hiddenly they tried to save their cultural heritage, and I can understand why they become so offensive from everyone else. So that's the historical part, and that became a problem when I was looking for a specialist, because you have to find a specialist who is on the list of the Society of Psychiaters, who is able to decide you are mentally sick with gender dysphoria and you can do your own decision over you need to do transition or not. And the next closest LGBT center and Transgender center is Bologna, which from me it's around 5 hours by train or 6. So close to job, or now in the lockdown it could be simply impossible to manage to go for psychotherapy. But I was really worried because I don't speak really well Italian. I have studied 3 years, but talking about emotional things, it's not the language we use in the common days. And I was not even sure I speak much better German. My German is good enough to success to communicate well with the psychotherapist. So I was very little and he was the only one which has the certificate to do this job here, but he's speaking German. And for the first meeting I went with my husband, because I told him he's my security, he speaks both of the language native. So and anyway, in a way he's connected, so we went there, but I find out really fastly I have no problem with German, so we could communicate really well. And from the first meeting already before we left, psychotherapist said, it's no question, I'm a woman and I'm ready for transition. Unfortunately, the protocol is 1 year examination before the step forward. So I have to go X time in between X months. And he has a kind of protocol also about what he should do, and I have to pass that one, but he already know I'm ready. I was 39, sure I was ready. I'm not like I mentioned yesterday, I already knew when I was 6, so more than 30 years I had the time to think on this, so anyway. And there was a really interesting experience for me, because he has experience with female to male, many, because here is more accepted from female to male to mixed transition. Anyway, to be lesbian is more accepted. Instead of gay, to be gay, a gay man is absolutely intolerated in this community, in this region. Not mentioned like this trans, who male to female has no chance to be in public. Yeah, I'm a stranger. So, yeah, I was this first experience on this side of transition. And I was really missing over our conversation the possibility to meet with other ones who already did or are on the process, to give me their experience about what I can wait or what I can expect or what I should be prepared for. And he couldn't help me with that, because he simply didn't know. The protocol was about depression, for example, which for me now is really important, and about intellectual capacity or mental health, but no really about what's going on in your mental when you are on the process. So it was a kind of interesting. So after I saw on YouTube so many channels, the other part, the more fortunate part of the world, has so many groups. I thought, yeah, I contact him, because he offered me, after gave me the certificate, to do the next step. He said, first of all, I don't need to go back, because, yeah, I tried to communicate with him about other things, which really makes me worry in that time, but he was not really a partner in that. And he said I'm mentally absolutely okay, so, but if I have emergency situation, I should call up, and in a month, hopefully I get an appointment. I thought, okay, emergency situation in a month. Well, but now in this, with this ID, that's not emergency, but I thought maybe if he has other clients like me was, now I happily offer to be in a group, to manage to change experiences, because he asked me once, when I was still there, if a young guy can visit me who actually thinking on transition and have gender dysphoria. And of course I said yes, because the guy could speak English really very well, and also German, so we could really communicate. And yeah, so he sent me, and it was like this. But that was one occasion, and now in lockdown anyway, I guess it's more effective, could be Zoom, but that's technicalities. So that was only an idea. Again, I make sound and run, but honestly, today I prepared a topic, but I'm not really in my best, I can say. And now I get my microphone, and I just thought, okay, I try it out, if it's really work, or you can hear me better or not. So I was by the Sierra okay, trees, and going back to the topic. And one of the things which was really informative also for me, he has this procedure. He did really follow a standard procedure which he told me is international now. I guess I was really the new experience for him too, and it was really interesting. First I get a test, if I remember well. Now it's nearly 3 years past, so sorry if I'm not really correct in timeline, but that test showed me I had to answer between 1 and 10 how much I could react for this and that and so on. And usually I was pretty in the middle, and when I answered not the middle one, I answered really the too extreme end, and he told me I'm tempestive. Yeah, that's that was not a big surprise, but I really thought I'm depressive. And he said after I made this test was about if I'm depressive or not. And I'm not, because if you are depressive, or that's how I study it now, and that's my knowledge. So, I'm not a psychiater, I cannot really use the terms, but they told me after other ones too, is that the situation when you simply have no power to do things which actually daily routine, or you must do but you don't do. So that with me never happened. I always felt I cannot do things because of the situation in life which I have, but not because I don't start. So that's really was a surprise, because how I use the term depression actually was only a lack of possibility, which makes me sad and sometimes really angry, because these things which you have not control over, and usually these things which makes me impossible to do things what I wanted, it was over on my control, like this situation I can be sometimes pretty upset over. I don't have the right to manage my own life, and because I'm some politic, I'm sorry, I don't say this sickness is not serious, and I don't say it's danger, it's not a real problem. What I'm saying, the politician reaction was absolutely false, because they forced us to live in fear with the help of media and actually give up everything just for the possibility to not get. I'm really the best example. I hardly ever step out from this flat. I went for my laser hair removal session last month, in the middle of the month, and I get sick. It's not sure actually it was COVID. I made of course the test, but I have found out this test also can show positive if you have the normal influenza. And because I didn't have any specialty of the symptoms which they said this COVID makes, like losing taste, losing smell, losing high temperature or anything, I think it was normal influenza. And mostly the point was I didn't contact with anyone. So the quarantine was really useful. I only went to the laser hair removal directly with bus, and when I came back the bus was full with children. Really full, like Sardinia in the team. But really that's why I also angry. For me from the beginning, not the shop was the problem. Maybe the kassa in the shops where you wait in the line, but mostly the mass transit. They can say they clean it, but it's just as much as dirty than before. If it's dirty, how they can say it's disinfected, and when people must be in a place where is the air going around, and we are really like fish in the tin, it could be really surprising if nobody get anything. So mask you can wear or not, mostly when the bus is slow, so which is car is 15 minutes. In the bus it's 40 minutes, and the mask is good for 20 minutes to count. And and I was surprised people give up living from fear, because they want to live. Okay, enough now for this little politic part. I guess I turn back for the philosophy. My other really big despair in myself was, so the first one, if I'm depressive. I find out I'm not. I was always surprising others who knows me said I'm so strong, because I felt always, yeah, I'm strong, but I just didn't saw any achievement which I achieved in 10 years or 10 years. Be fair, nearly 20. Because I have started to work when I was 16, so okay. So I'm not depressive, you see. And the other, I was really thinking, I build up a scenario for me myself, which makes me impossible to act. So I must be a little bit crazy. And it was again surprising, they had this intellectual test where I achieved 135 IQ. I was surprised. Okay, I never thought I'm low capability, but I thought I really the average. And you know, or how I have known there when he told me what was my result, the 15% of the people are on my level or more. So I was positively surprised. Of course, I immediately called my uncles, who always was so proud about their IQs, and one of them had 132, so I had to say I'm 135. You know, my other uncle actually is 136, but I said, yeah, 1 point, yeah, I maybe had a bad day. So that was again a feedback, because after 10 years I'm actually always living in this flat. So that's why for me it's so hard also this lockdown, because I don't step out really many times. I usually step out 3 times in a week. 2 times I went for the course for one hour, and for the weekend I go out for walking in the city just to be between people. So I cannot say I'm a party mouse, but that's minimum socializing I really need. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a monk, and yeah, people living between people, so to take away from me, and mostly from this long, it makes me really suffering sometimes. And and in this 10 year when I was here and try to manage my life, mostly to be makes a foundation financially for my existence here, I had really big questions about my skills, because how is possible in 10 years, you know, I had nothing to achieve. I tried so many things, like I studied and I was specialized in urban design. I make the projects to offer local politicians for revitalization, of course not free. The point was, you know, to help society, just to be in society. We're doing art market now for 6 years. That's of course again nearly for free. Bring here artists which I have met in the whole Italy, in this area, to show their works. I also tried with major houses to organize art exhibitions. I was in the LGBT community to try to make campaign to let us know a little. So I really think, maybe I'm wrong, but I really think I tried so many things during the time to be here. I mean, to base a life here. I mean, which connect me here. And after 11 years, I find out actually nothing really connect me for this place, except not the transition. And the problem, I have nothing for a restart. Literal. So this was really interesting with the psychologist because it was a huge reveal, I can say, because I was really thinking I get mad. I mean, it must be something wrong with me, because how it's possible in my previous life, which was not so good, I saw in Hungary, but I never had really problem to achieve what I wanted, mostly which I made for free, which I make for volunteer. And and also to get friends, because I was different, but like in my yesterday video where I said, with women I never had problem to make friendship. I was not guy, which they want to pick up. I was something interesting, and I have, I guess, a pretty interesting personality, and really, I really get friends really easily. I'm here, and I don't have anyone to call up to meet for a coffee, and that's not because of the lockdown. And during the language class, I will talk with everyone, It's not a problem. I speak German minimum, so most of the people here speak German, and the language is not problem at all anymore. But they just not interested to make friendship with me. I cannot change on that fact. And and after that I was talking about these problems with my psychiater. So actually for me, the transition was not so many questions. I only need the paper, to mix actually the hormone therapy, the hormone replacement therapy. But he had this procedure, so I went for 1 year there, and I tried to talk with him about my online dating, for example, one time. He is a kind man, because actually he never say something opposite which you do, but he also realized I really go around morally and ethically on my act. So I told him first, accidentally, I was like woman registered on my first online dating site, where I was hetero man, because before I always was on a gay side, but there I mostly looked for friends, because I was in a relationship. I'm monogam anyway. I could be if I could have a relationship. So I told him, and I told him I was surprising, because on gay side I have not so much success even like friend, because men looking for hookup, they are not for friends, and why they should vice the trans friends. So it was a little bit hopeless adventure, but here I was wondering how it's possible all these handsome, really interesting, well-educated man wants to meet with me. And after 3 days I realized what's going on, because I find out I'm actually registered like woman, which was strange, because I registered with Facebook, and on Facebook I was still like male, so I have no idea what was happening. Anyway, I changed the setup after 3 days, and then, because I said I'm trans woman state, all the woman comes for me like a possible match. So I thought that's something wrong with the program, because if I'm woman and state, for me it means, man, but so after that I changed again back to woman, and in the description I wrote down I'm transgender, because there was a question, what is your biggest secret which you would like to reveal, and I wrote there. And that's where usually, because I always have to ask, if they have read that, because from the description nobody, I was really there. They stuck on my photos where I look relatively okay, and they wrote me, and before they ask my phone number, I usually ask if they have read I'm transgender. So I told him this, and he said, yeah, it's right, because I'm sorry, but who makes this up? They makes mistake, because they was not really clear, I guess, what does it mean, transgender, woman and straight. But I solved the problem. The problem comes, I have found guys, who lives really far. And to meet with like that, it's a kind of problematic. Was before lockdown already, so they usually come for a weekend. They stay somewhere else, because I'm a traditional girl. I keep the opportunity to say no. And as he said also, it's alright, because I tried transgender sites, but if anyone have a good experience with a site, please write me, because I'm still single. But most of them I find is really for sex worker, and I have no problem with them, but I'm not. So I find out, the clients are not so well-mannered, and I have no really the mood, to try to make them clear I'm not one of their slave. I mean, it's not the sex worker guilt, is simply the mentality of this men. I'm sorry. So I'm usually on normal hetero sites. And that was my try to build up a contact with my psychiater. But he's German, that's too private things to talk, and he's not. He tried to be open, and all my respect for him, because he really tried. But to try and to be open is not the same thing. And he sent me one time a guy who came after me and was thinking on transition, and I was talking with him. He could speak German and English too, so but I'm too honest, and I told my real opinion, so he gave me right and not come more. Because I like to think I can measure up if I'm talking with someone what's going on, mostly if I met more time and we really open up. And when he asks my opinion, I don't lie. So sometimes I think I could be more diplomatic, and that's my favorite cousin said. With the problem with me, it's really like that. I'm thinking too fast, too hectic. I'm really measuring up all the possibilities. When I already makes my question, I have my answer, or nearly I have my answer, and I don't let for my partners the time to think on things which I already talked through. And that looks like a kind of arrogancy, and I have to accept that is true. And I try to, how I can say, listen more and let time for other to create their own opinion. And yeah, but I can't not say I improved or not, because I hardly met with anyone. But I really realized that I do like this. So sometimes if somebody really don't know me, it can look like a kind of arrogancy. It's also true with people who I not feel close. I usually keep my opinion for myself because I really don't want to offend anyone. And if I'm saying, I try to mix in the best empathic way to not get the reaction like I'm offensive and they defend immediately, because that's close the possibility to real communication. So with my psychotherapist, that was my experience, and I guess that was all the occasion when I have met. But I may tell a really positive experience, because now maybe how I should say, maybe I makes the people who are still not looked for a psychotherapist to start that transition, I makes them encourage. I mean, I minimize their courage, and I don't want to do that one. When I was really in a crisis and so big, I mean, my crisis was so big, I was physically became sick. After that, I realized I need professional help. And I have a friend, an old colleague in Hungary, who is fantastic. She has a now slowly teenager girl, and you have to know, she was announced to die 10 years or 12 years ago, and she still survived. So she's a fighter. But of course she have psychiater to help to go on daily times, and she told me, yeah, I can help you, I will look for you a really good one. And she did. She take me appointment for her psychiater, and I have met 3 times with her, I mean with the psychiater, every week, 1 time for an hour. And I told her my story, fussy, and what's my vicious cycle which I stuck in. I mean, I talked through all the way how it's possible this problem. I simply could not find out the way. And it's a hamster ride. It's a hamster ride. So she listened me all the time, and she always give me one question in the end. Because yeah, I can speak forever. Like you see, I didn't plan anything, but I'm just speaking and speaking and speaking. So she didn't have to have me to going forward with my story. I didn't need that. So she makes me one question, and it was always shockingly moment which just opened my eyes up, and I had to cry like crazy. I mean, on the street I could not stop. When I stepped out from the office of her, I was already crying, and I could not stop for hours, because I was wondering, it's so simple. I mean, her question is so simple. I already am not looking for the answer, because the question makes the answer itself, but why I didn't talk on that? So I had the experience, a real psychiater. It's really can help. She made me fixed for the next 2 years. And yeah, the last time, the third time, we was actually talking about my steps, and she helped me to build up how I can go out from this situation, or how I can find my way. And so it was great. So really, if you are feeling crisis, and most of us who have real serious gender dysphoria, go for looking for professional help, because they simply know what they are doing, and it's like with the, if something broken, you need a prepared man who knows. For us maybe need years, or we are still not able to fix the problem, and for a professional it's just one question. It's amazing. All respect. So go and find a good one. I have seen in other countries there exist centers where they have this for specialists and supporting groups, and LGBT centers. So go and ask other one experience to find the right person, or try more out. Here I only had this one, so I could choose between him or him. So yeah, he was nice. Not a real help for me, but he will not make stress the situation, which I guess already a success. So I don't know what was the topic for today, but now I finished. If you like this mind-blowing experience, thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.